The topic for my discussion today is the divine and supernatural light. This was a sermon delivered by Jonathan Edwards to the church in Northampton. In this, he states that the soul immediately receives a supernatural light by the Spirit of God. He went on to elaborate on that concept by letting his congregation know he wasn't talking about your conscience or your set of feelings of right and wrong or even human nature. This was something above that. This was a step beyond that. It was a step that brought you closer in your relationship with God. And it was an indwelling in the person himself. I was reading some other articles about this, and they were talking, one particular author was Jay Salandin, and I hope I pronounced that right, and he was talking about a discussion that there is as to whether or not God interferes in human nature or nature at all, that according to God's law, that he has set the rules and we are supposed to live by them, and he has given us the opportunity to choose. So even though we may know it's the right thing, we also have that chance, or well, not chance, but that make that mistake of not following what we should do and following our own way. So he was discussing the idea of the nature of people can only be determined by the choices that the people make. That's an interesting concept, but I think it's true that if you're trying to follow the right things to do, God is always going to be there to guide you. So discounting that 100% doesn't seem to fit in with the plan at all. God is who we worship and follow. It is not just that we follow certain rules and regulations. It's more of a personal relationship and not just a guidebook. We're also talking about nature in general, that God should not interfere with that. And I think that we know that that's also not true. There was a quote from C.S. Lewis, and this is definitely a paraphrase, but he was saying if God destroys something, he can also turn around and create something, and that is going to have an impact on nature, the entire process. So we know that God is all-powerful and all-knowing, and he does want what is best for us. It's to accept that and believe that. So I think that I have to totally agree with Jonathan Edwards that it's a gift from God, one that we are free to receive, but we are missing out on so much if we don't take advantage of that. So that was a really important concept. And also we're talking about the rationality of God. Well, that to me is like a non-topic. God created everything. God knows everything. It's impossible for him to be rational. So to me, if you have a belief that God is all those things, everything he does is rational. It's us that may not understand why or what, but it's always going to be the rational thing. Thank you very much.